Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Quantum You Good Vibrations talk show. And today I've got a really awesome guest, Michael André Fjord, if I'm right. And he's just not your, I wouldn't say normal guest, but he's got these experiences with angels and so many things that we're going to talk about today. But first, I would just want to first of all say namaste. And from my angels to your angels, welcome, Michael. So you can
Ronnie,
please introduce.
thank you for having me on Quantum You. Totally appreciate it. Wish we had Ashley here. So a shout out to Ashley to say hello, who's stuck somewhere right now.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael. I met you, I watched you on a talk show, and I was very inspired by the fact that you actually not only see and communicate with angels, you love to help and assist people, but you also have tangible proof that you actually see them. So that was really a little bit different than, a lot of people just talking about the angels. So how did it start? Where does your journey start, if you have a start at all?
Sure. And just to back up just a touch is just, I help a person have a direct experience. So it's all the senses, hearing, feeling, seeing, and also smelling and more. So you can get hugs from angels, light beings, fairies, your passed over loved ones. All languages are spoken, and there are photos of angels and even static historical photos. If you're talking to figures from India or Native American chiefs, they can move. A photograph that you and I know can't move can move. You get a wink, a smile. So there's a lot of that. Plus, people can do this individually. And then once they've owned it, if it's two friends that are getting along or business partners, they can do it at the same time and they can hear simultaneously. So I really feel like I'm off the hook, even though this is so spiritual or so woo-woo.
Okay, so that is really good, because we want to make it accessible for everybody. We don't want anybody that's watching this to feel like this is so mystical, because when we go really down to what it truly is, it's quantum physics, isn't it? It's our true spiritual nature coming through, and we're just being aware of the spiritual nature of everything. So where did this start? So where did you grow up, and when was the first time you had an experience that seemed mystical? Because we know now it's actually a natural thing.
Sure. So I'm from the United States, and currently I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I'm from the East Coast originally, and I've probably moved 40 to 44 times, East Coast and Paris for a year. I went to a boarding school outside of Boston. That was a big one. 4 years there, Phillips Academy, Andover, then Middlebury College up in Vermont. And I took some time. We were living on a Coast Guard base, military parents. My dad was Navy, died when I was 2 in 1970, Navy fighter pilot type. It was his time to go. And my mom passed when I was turning 23, and it was her time to go. And hundreds of people have met them. So yes, it's a big loss. And yes, you might look through a different lens in life. And it was part of my path to help me let go later, to turn around and help people let go. But hundreds of people have met them, and they show in their 20s. So I've lived up and down the East Coast, and my first big job out of college was on Wall Street. I had said over my dead body I'd ever move back to New York. I lived on a little Coast Guard base right by the Statue of Liberty, southern tip of Manhattan, 4 years there, Governor's Island. And I didn't want to go back to New York. And if you say never about something, watch what happens. So that was the first place I landed a job, 2 years Wall Street. I've always looked super young. I'm 54 now, 54 and a half probably. And after Wall Street, I fell into public relations, where they value your horsepower up top. And I was very creative, and I put people on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, did business press. I peaked out at probably $250,000 in salary. And I was doing, I think the peak was 1,300 interviews or 1,100, something like that. I personally set up in a single year. The Lehman Brothers crisis was my peak of business, but it also helped me lose my job later. I worked with surviving Lehman executives. It was 10% of my book of business, but it also helped me lose my job at a $1 billion revenue law firm. I was in a third or fourth round of stealth layoffs, 72 people. None of us knew this was coming. We got an hour's notice. I think I was the only excited one, because a little voice, before I got intuitive, a little voice that sounded like mine had said when I first visited Austin, Texas, you'll move here someday. And maybe that was 2000, 2002. By 2007, I had bought a home there just to finally buy a home. I was, 40 something. And sure enough, I moved there in 2009, 2010, I started to have the Christmas Carol experience. I wasn't Ebenezer Scrooge. I wasn't a jerk, but I'm saying I was always enthusiastic, happy. I had a lot of weird little synchronicities in life happen. I think everyone's got a big heart. And I think in one sense, we're all Ebenezer Scrooge at a Christmas Carol. I also think we're all fully capable, and you spin the wheel or the dial, and on any given moment, on any given day, you could be totally uptight, locked down tight, control, thinking, or you could be wide open, fully aware and loving, whether it's yourself, the moment, nature, the dog in front of you. And I think that's the human sort of big trek or journey for us all, is that pendulum swing. No one's ditching thinking the whole way. And for those that are worried about the concept of meeting beings of love that are just beyond our perception, and I don't even like that phrase, but beings of without thinking that are just pure love, here to help us if we'll allow for it. I'm going to argue that the level of complexity is no different than you brushing your teeth, riding a bike, falling asleep at night, or flipping the light switch on the wall back there. You just do it. And if you think about how much you just do it on regular little activities during the day, that's a lot of stuff. You just reach for the fork in the fork drawer and don't even think about it. You trust that it's there. That's faith, whether it's religious, non-religious. It's called letting go. It's your awareness kicking in. Half the time you do it unconsciously. And we all know that from the Autobahn, when we're driving at 170 kilometers an hour and 2 miles goes by in 10 seconds. And we go, oh, where was I? I was just in the moment driving. And then you get a little worried because you're like, well, was I out of control or not? And you're still alive. So there's something to this letting go, touching your heart, more consciousness, that's the entranceway, the doorway, the opening openness. And as Zen people say, or Buddhist people say, the gateless gate, the doorless door. And you know it if you're an athlete, you've touched on it with your whole being in the zone.
Yeah.
So I got to Austin and I had a lot of little stuff happen. None of those details will help a person with their own life story.
That's fine. In Quantum U, we focus on letting go because we also feel like it shouldn't be such a huge effort. You just let go what doesn't align. So anything that's coming from a lower vibrational state is not assisting you to see or to become aware of your divinity within. You can just let go. And I love that you use this phrase quite a lot, because it's not about trying to get there, as you just said. It's just about letting go of thinking that you can't. So that's amazing. So in the terms of now, we obviously need to go into with regarding your angels and showing some pictures of your angels, because that's also very, very interesting. So you met a couple of your angels. Did you start being more aware of them, or you obviously start noticing something's happening and you started putting your attention on them, didn't you? Or
yes.
How did they then come and say, or pitch up, and then you could take a photo of them? Because I have a friend that sometimes she sees balls of light that visit her and everything, Madeleine, and she hasn't come to take a photo of those moments. The other ones, yes. But yes. So I would love you to share a bit how you started interacting and how it was possible for you to take a photo of them.
Well, just like in life, there's a giant curve and we're all on the curve somewhere for consciousness, unconsciousness, allowing, being tight. And again, we jump around on that curve a lot. I was somewhere on my curve when it came to places that I lived. I never viewed any place that I was in as my space. And so I had to learn that lesson. I didn't have really a lot of stuff on the walls when I first bought the house. I didn't view cooking smells as ownership or getting plants. And so I acquired those extra ways of living. I got a good set of advice from someone else on how to fill my space and start living at many other levels. Because when you're in New York for 20 years, apartments, you're on the go, you're working around the clock. It's sort of a different form of compartmentalized living. So I started expanding that way. I started having little occurrences happen. I grabbed every intuitive person around me and asked for assistance because I didn't understand what was happening. But I started seeing, feeling, hearing, and I grabbed a camera as a security blanket and I snapped away a bunch of photos. I used to hand the camera to folks. So I've got thousands of photos. angels, fairies, Play-Doh. They're on my website as well on the back page. And there's like my guardian angel, a silhouette. Her name is Min. And she's light waves of energy and water. I've got her photographed many different ways. She's on the cover of my book, Listening to Angels, as a metallic ball of light, the white one. And also I've got her, again, there's no one shape, size, form. This is just what I call light energy, or an energy in light form. Angels come in that way. You can see full on, like your postman. You can see an angel that way, with and without wings, whatever you're more comfortable with. So there's a million ways to see. And what's great about this is angels know how not to kind of trip you up. They know how where you're going to be comfortable. They know how to navigate all your personal values, your belief system, so that you won't freak out and run out of the room. That's the beauty of this. And again, this isn't about thinking. Thinking's the only block here. It's the only thing that can pull you out of the love, the consciousness, the global slipstream of openness that's already within you, around you, on the earth. If you want to call it interdimensional love, whatever you want to call it, it's all much simpler too than people think or realize, just because this isn't about the act of thinking.
That's a very important point. Now clarify that for people, because we've made a few posts regarding not thinking, but what does it actually mean not to think? Because people think, but I have to think, they get very nervous when you tell them, but you don't have to think, because it's actually out of flow. So explain a little bit from your experience, what is not thinking?
Sure. Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie both cover this very, very well. Look, our natural state, in one sense, is to spend maybe 80% of our week thinking. That's judging, fear, stress, worry, knowing something to the preclusion of possibility, reacting, one more R in there. In any case, that pulls us out of the slipstream of love. When we judge someone, Wayne Dyer said that really well, we're not really impacting them. We're wiping ourselves out with negativity. And so I think it would be easier if people could see the flows of energy, higher vibration or happier, where you go, oh my God, laugh, and you see a hummingbird, or you hug your dog, whatever those moments are. And this goes back to the age-old question, well, how do you know this is real? Or how do you know which way is up, which way is down? I always say, how do you know a good cup of coffee? And so if it tastes good and you say, yum, and you actually finish the cup of coffee and you actually want to go back and get another or buy the same brand, New Mexico Pinon Coffee Company. That's Pinon, one of the best coffees I've ever found. So you have an internal guidance system that makes you happy. And when you let go and you experience more joy, more bliss, there's 1,000 of those consciousness levels. I would argue thinking's more unconscious, not all the time. And sometimes it's 1% of 1% negativity, but it really doesn't do any good. It's a waste of energy, actually. It's ego. And so that's why a lot of this, any of the words, the concepts, there's millions of great experts out there. Use them all. Go do their seminars. They'll show you at least something about which way the arrow points towards more awareness, more openness, more love. They might even show you some techniques. Very few are going to help you out beyond that, except with their presence. Or they may actually help you unlock so you pick up skills. I help people go full open, but I almost step out of the way. Your skills can expand. It's angels doing all the work. You can meet your guardian angel. There's 150 angels, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, other figures. They do the work. You interact. You get any answers to any questions. And the thinking that we talked about, it's just the chatter, but it's not you. You're not your thinking. So if you can ease up or pump the brakes a little on being above the neck and get to your heart, that's all this is. And I'm going to sum this up with one final thing. In 10 or 11 years of doing this for a few thousand folks, the biggest piece of advice, and I forget everything, so I've been saying for years, it's 5 to 10% less thinking is the Olympic gold medal that an angel said. Now, I pinned that down better a month ago for a client. An angel named Charlotte, one of my business managers, and also in the same photo with that silhouette angel just now on the cover of my book, the blue ball light, there's Charlotte. Yeah. She said it's 7% less thinking a week. That's it. That's the max. So if anybody thinks this is like a trek up a Himalayan mountain, which it could feel like, it's not. It's just 7% less thinking. I think I did the math. It's 1.6 hours a week. Spend some time doing yoga, go cook, take a nap, walk the dog, read some poetry, look at a tree, touch a tree. There's a million ways to get into your heart And there's definitely a million reasons why you shouldn't listen to anything today.
Breathe.
Yes,
I
breathe.
love that. Yeah, I love what you just said, because you know how profound that is to think about. 7% is nothing. If we can reach the 7% of less thinking, and I think this is what our tendency is, we want change, but it's so overwhelming because we might look at someone that's walked a journey a bit further, or I don't want to say further, it's just different. And then we get all like, oh, I'm going to give up now. We just don't enter that calmness and space of saying, it's okay, this is doable. And I love that. I love simplicity and doable. And that's what we do at Confident. We want this. I love you saying that, because I really believe you guys watching, this is profound. It's not that you have to stop thinking completely. It's just that you stop thinking 7% of the time, which is wonderful.
And this is about being open as much as possible, being love for all. It starts with you loving you, and that's just allowing. So I love the word allowing with a capital A. It's allowing for all to be exactly as it is. Just be in your heart. If you're practicing love, and I think it was Mother Teresa who said this, if you're, busy loving people or being love, you have no time to judge people. But keep flipping all those adjectives, the verbs around. That you have no time to fear or stress or worry. So the more you can just be the you, whether it was the athletic you at the pinnacle of your athletic success, or as a kid, everyone's different. There's 7 billion people with 40 trillion different thought forms. And when you start comparing all those thought forms to each other, I wouldn't want to change a single one. It's the contrast of Earth and why this place is so spectacular. Because once you stop getting caught up in causes or in spending your energy in a negative way, running around and handing out speeding tickets to everyone. And the sooner you start living and loving, the sooner you figure out a higher, more open, more fun, more joyous experience here that's available to us all. We all have a unique, gorgeous life path. And as long as you're willing to once in a while get out of thinking, you're going to discover a lot more about yourself, your connection to the universe, and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get to the angels, because we said around about 40 minutes, before we get to the angels and the pictures, so what does this mean to you? Like we always speak oneness. We believe we're one with God, one with spirit, equal. We are here to love and to discover our divinity that is love. Okay. And obviously you're speaking the same, you're going in that direction. What does oneness mean to you? Because we like to bring that up, and it's also a heartfelt thing for us, for people to become aware of their oneness with all and everyone. And that comes in that we don't, if you're judging others, you're going to be judging yourself and reflecting upon, what does this mean for you? So the word oneness for everybody is different.
First I would just tell a quick dad joke, which is if you can laugh, you're letting go. And that's the whole point of the exercise. This isn't about any particular words or concepts. And yet we're going to tackle the oneness thing in 1 second. So here's a basic dad joke. What do you call a baby camel born with no humps, 0 humps? What do you call that baby camel? Humphrey. And I could try to blow sage in a second through the screen to you.
Okay.
But I love Wayne Dyer's quote, loving people live in a loving world, hostile people live in a hostile world, same world. And there's another way to say the non-duality, duality thing that Buddhists talk about. The queen from Hawaii, I forgot her name, Lili, I can't say her name. All things in this world are two, in heaven there is but one. And I had one more quote to give you. Innocence is the way to realize love. Innocence is the way to realize non-duality. For here, virtue and vice are one. And there's another way to say that. Just when you're in your heart and your love, the details melt away. You're not concerned with what's right or wrong. And people could be like, well, are you justifying robbing a bank? And that's not what this is about. When you have, there is a sliding scale of higher vibration, more joy, more love. And we all know we don't do enough of it. And we don't read enough books. We don't exercise enough. We don't eat right enough. We don't have enough vacation. We don't make other people's days enough with kind words. We're not aware enough, conscious enough, kind enough. And it's okay. You're at where you're at. But if you just let go with the trying and the worrying about all this, and you just wake up a little bit in the moment. And I'm not talking the wokeness stuff that's going on. That's just more ideology out there. I'm talking just basic kindness, compassion. And I'll go on a quick tangent. Compassion as a definition. Angels have been giving me just a million little compassion definitions. And I think if we grab 30 angels and you sat down and did 1 hour a day of getting a specific definition from each angel for 10 years, I don't think they'd ever have to repeat the same definition. So all these questions are what it is to be, are eternal, and what it is to be human. And I'm quoting an angel named Abe, who is the old Abraham, on everyone's team, a grandfatherly, fatherly energy. So these are big questions, but the oneness thing, the way I'd say it is, good luck remembering to remember, if you can remember, when you remember. So that's why I laugh. And that's why Buddhists talk about the breath, how openness is in this very moment. That's always the occasion, the opportunity. And that's Chogyam Trungpa who said that. You can meet him.
Yeah.
So we are like this with blinders on, and it's okay. That's the human condition. Anytime you can pump the brakes and actually just randomly grab a cup of tea, put your feet up and chat with a friend, that's living life.
Totally.
Yeah, not the iPhone necessarily, but let this be a reminder, as Thich Nhat Hanh would say. You can meet him. He has that beautiful little book, Pieces Every Step, that says even doing the dishes can be fun, or mowing the lawn. You did it in half the time with the mower than you normally do, because you were maybe gigging out to music. You were smiling and breathing, and you were interconnected. You didn't even hit the flowers anymore. You normally hit the flowers. So every activity is your opportunity. Every moment is your instruction. And listening is just opening the channels of communication or awareness that are available to us all the time. But you can go decades shut down. Rigidity. Knowing what you know, and you know how knowing works. Look at the scientific community. Wait a week and it changes.
Totally. It's also one becomes it's this one might know, but you might not know. See, one knows a lot, but you don't know, and then one day you know, and it's just this beautiful journey. I love it. You know, it's life as a game. My friend and I play it, and we don't try and take it too seriously. And if one gets very serious, the other one would say, "Come on, you are going into seriousness." And we were talking the other day even about, as you were saying, to get onto that, what you were saying is the awareness of, or not such awareness, but doing things in love. So when you eat, like we were talking about, so how would one eat? One would eat as if you haven't had a pie for a long time. For instance, you are craving, like my son was in Vermont, you were talking about Vermont, and he was craving the stuff you get in Germany, the my cooking. He was actually craving it's amazing. That means he was missing cooking, because I'm not a passionate cook. But what if that feeling, so then you get back and you take that meal and you are amazed by it. And that is, we were saying, what if every meal you're amazed by it? You know, there's a lot going on with people so worried about the world's food shortages and everything. But I was thinking, what an opportunity to eat less. What if you know what I mean? And not in a sense, you know, I have compassion for everybody's situation, but our focus to be on what is still there, what is amazing, what is beautiful.
People's authentic power comes from, it's almost like a micro moment inside the moment. If you can slow down enough to actually pay attention to where you are putting your focus, that's half the battle. It's just more slowing down. Forget about the silence thing, because it's not, that doesn't really exist. It's stillness. And you can go pump the brakes, get to your heart. Your heart already knows what to do. And the slowing down is your opportunity to go beyond words. We don't realize that when we talk, even I might sound like I know something, but to me, there's not really more than maybe 5 people running around enlightened on planet Earth. And anyone saying they're enlightened generally are more locked up and rigid than we would ever realize. But everyone serves their purpose on the instructor curve. So it could be somebody who doesn't smile a lot or laugh a lot or do any dad jokes. Deepak Chopra. Take him, go buy all his courses, seminars, but try to remember or recognize the point where you're saturated and you don't think you're learning anymore. And if you keep poking around, you're going to end up finding your own center, and you're going to find that you have it all. And that heart of yours knows exactly what to do. You've got unlimited capacity there. Your authenticity comes from you slowing down and getting beyond the words or outside of the words and realizing that that little voice is actually your ego that's meant to help you, stay upright. It's worried for you. It creates and generates the stress, the fear, and so on. But it's not you. When you shine, your eyes shine, you sparkle, you're connected to your higher self, your soul. If you just want to say the universe to keep it easy, that happens. There's people who are like, oh my God, you're glowing across the room. You walk into a party and everybody comes up, or just the right combination of events. But it's actually you flowing energy. And I guess the final thing is I help people see energy at the beginning on their hands. I think it reminds you that you've been using energy this whole time. Happy energy, positivity is abundance, or the negativity. And we're not getting away from the negativity. We can just do a little less of it. We can be a little more aware, a little more mindful. And so the eating thing, yes, every moment is your opportunity. All your moments could be the same. Good luck with that. If you remember. But more moments of just inner peace, calm, that's critical. And the other thing I've done lately this year only is to light sage and to blow it through the screen. And if you'd like, I would encourage audience members, if you give me the green light, I light this sage and I blow it through 2 screens. Any audience member can smell this if they'll allow for it.
Well, let's do it, because quantum physically we're all connected and there's no space.
Yeah, and in the old phone days, those old phones that were clunky, you picked up the phone thinking to call somebody and they're calling you. Yeah. What do you think that was? Or you thought about something, and you run into it 2 days later. So there's a tea light in there that's blue, one of those rainbow shells and a big flame that I got to put out. Sage from a California company that's fun. Here's smoke and a red-tailed hawk feather. I'll blow a little. Say when you can smell it at your end, and I'll tell one more dad joke for fun, even if everyone's already telling it.
So but people don't think too much, like just relax.
Yeah, give yourself a break, drop to your heart. If you have to put your hand on your heart, do it. And leave your mouth a little bit open, smell. Some people catch the energy first on their mouth and they smell the sage that way. It's just kind of a smoky flavor.
Yeah, I immediately tasted it. I was immediately aware of the smokiness.
Good. And here's a last dad joke, because if you can laugh, you're letting go. Santa and his reindeer, just Blitzen and Dancer. Why do those two drink so much coffee? Answer, because they're Santa's Starbucks.
Okay, Starbucks. That's so good.
Anybody can back this up and play it again, send it to a friend, and you don't need me really involved. Just have to give yourself permission to let go and ask angels to intervene. And this is what I love about this, is you can go one way with angels, and you do all the time. You make requests to the universe. Again, when you talk, that's all you're doing is making a request. When you label somebody, you say, I want more negativity. When you run around and say, this is how it should be, in spite of the way it already is, generally you're not doing it in a constructive way. So again, more negativity. Most people don't realize that. They're caught up in ideology, thinking causes, and they're really into the right or wrong, and they want to tell everybody else how to live. My big thing is to reassure you that you're good how you are. This isn't about thinking. Own your own wellness and being. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else, but keep still taking all those classes and stuff like that. Do not allow others to dictate your own wellness and being. You have it all in your heart. You're incredible. And this is like that classic treasure hunt. You are the X on the map, and you get to find your own heart. So whether you take 50 years, 6 lifetimes, 2 weeks, 2 months, or today you have a little aso moment. It's up to you to do your own figuring out. But I'm telling you, it's more than a flashlight and a puzzle over on a table. You actually can accelerate that openness, the awareness, and your appreciation and allowing for all.
Absolutely. Totally agree. I love that. Love how you just put that. Before we go, just give us some pictures of your angels, like some of the and their names. And I know how much time we have, and then once you've shared that, just where we'll come back to where people can get hold of you and what you've been up to, where people can find you, etc. We'll just talk about that.
Okay. And I wanted to find the 4 triangle ones. There's 3 more off camera. There's 4 archangels here. And I have them in many different shapes and forms. If you go to the back page of my website, you can find it there. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. There's an angel who makes hearts, and they're all over my website. That's Heather. Even her name is the word heart rearranged, Heather with a few extra. letters. I've seen her in Maui as a human. She was a Portuguese ballerina taking time off from life. I got to surf with her. I saw her in Sweden when I was running a half marathon. I was way early there. Got to run on that Olympic track, the stadium from 1912, something like that. I got to meet her. She was a Swedish UCLA track star. I was afraid to talk to her, but I talked to her for 20 minutes, and I'm sure that real UCLA Swedish track star was back in LA. And so I met her in New York at an Austin bookstore. Angels can show up in full human form. You don't have to listen to me, do anything like that, but ask for an angel to come in, little ball of light right here, to your post office person who's the happiest you've ever seen. A sparkle in the eye, or the stranger at a coffee shop holding the door open for you. And you just get flustered because you feel it. You don't have to worry about how to get there. It's the distance from here to here. And I'm trying to tell you, you've been doing it all your life. When you brush your teeth, fall asleep at night. Here's an actual fairy named Ginger.
That is so cute.
Yeah, and I have her a bunch of different ways. I used to hand the camera to folks. They took photos. But now you can see with your eyes open. If you can get comfortable baby stepping this, listen and get some answers. Smell some sage. Smell the ocean from across the globe, Hawaii. Let angels give you some hugs. The hugs become healing. Colorblind people have seen colors. See colors off the human definition, like you don't even know how to describe. There's really no limits, or sky's the limit, or the universe is the limit, or let's get beyond the word limits. Just, it's called getting out of thinking and out of what you thought your situation is. My problem is, to actually allow for a little room for maneuver. And guess what happens? You feel better. You feel lighter, you shine. And that's what happens on vacation. But let the vacation come to you in each moment. Don't go spend $10,000 or euros on some big fancy vacation once every 10 years. Start living more.
Amen. That is so beautiful. I love how you release that. And I think those are very, very wise words, and something somebody can actually use. That's what I wanted this to be about. Practical steps to just to become aware, maybe more aware, but be relaxed about it.
Sure. So, and if people want one last exercise, now here's my little tip for everybody. Do your palms in a circle, because you probably haven't done that in decades, I hope. Don't make a fire, do a circle. Break your structure, break what you know, drop to your heart, make your own personal request, own it. Be your own inner fearless, peaceful warrior. I love Dan Millman, Peaceful Warrior. Go grab his stuff. You can meet the angel who was the gas station attendant from his book. The long story short on this, though, is you're doing this. Give yourself permission to drop to your heart. Ask the universe angels to make it nice. Address angels if you don't mind. Trust that they exist, and the rest will come in. And ditch me. Here's a lighter. Take a look at the flame and just see what you can see. For some people out there, ask Joy to come in, and she might make a little bit of pink light on the flame. And Joy's a pink ball of light I'll show in just 1 second. But where I was going with this is, I'll put my finger up. There's Joy, the very first angel people meet. She holds the space, the ambassador communicator. I'll hold my finger up. If you can allow to see a little bit of energy, breathe through your mouth, 1 millimeter open. If you can see a little flicker of my energy, I go on an old surf trip and relax. I got to breathe to do this. And see if you can catch a little flicker of light there. And don't think you're crazy. You get one more dad joke. I'll give you my worst joke ever. What's the only flower found on the human face? Tulips.
Yeah, that's pretty cute.
And you can catch a little bit of light there. Now that's something you can play over and over again. Go for a walk if you had trouble. Put your hands in water. There's a million ways to let go. You have to own your own process of not taking life, situations, yourself too seriously. It's that ancient burden of self-importance, ancient burden of thinking, ego. This is all the classic stuff that makes up what it is to be human. And what's so beautiful about it is we're not dealing with the world humanity situation. We all think exactly the same way. It's the opposite. When you're a huge fan of a football team, European football, soccer, or American football, none of the fans agree on the exact same intricacies of which player. Some people hate that one player, but they like the goalie, or they like the quarterback, but they don't like the running back situation. They disagree with the coach. It's incredible. And yet they should all be unified, but they're not. And so that contrast, Esther Hicks and all the rest, is what is our opportunity to just relax people and relax ourselves, park it up here. It really doesn't accomplish much. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of life. You check yourself out. You go to dental floss for a connection when you could be a waterfall.
Yeah, totally true. I love that analogy. Thank you so much. It's been awesome to have this time with you. So, and I'm really honored because I know you're a very busy man. You've got quite a few things going on. Maybe you would like to share where people would see you, get hold of you. Your YouTube channel, obviously, we'll put the links in as well, and the YouTube once it's up.
www.myfullname.com has all the info. Michael André Fjord. And I've got a 3-day event end of July 29th, 30th, 31st, Friday through Sunday at Omega Institute. They've been around for 45 years, co-founded by Elizabeth Lesser, who's been on Super Soul Sunday twice with Oprah. But everybody's passed through there. Ram Dass, Thich Nhat Hanh when he was alive. Brene Brown, Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love will be there this summer. And so on. Eckhart Tolle's been there. If you're into the woo, the spiritual, or just philosophical or yoga, that's one of those American destinations in New York that's a lot of fun. Anybody who feels like they need a boot camp, though, get shoved off the bridge way down below and hit the water. That's the place to go. But I argue that that leap of faith, religious, non-religious, isn't that distance. It'll feel like it. It's just this big, or from here to here.
Yeah, absolutely. I so agree with you. But thank you. It's been such an honor to be here today. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you. I know you're busy, and we're just so honored and so thankful that the angel kept the Zoom call going today. It really kept
a little bit of an outage on Zoom in America. Thank you, Ronnie, for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll be in contact. Thank you so much for everything, and speak soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Tschüss.